Okay, so ah, if you don't want to answer, you don't have to answer.
Go to it, man.
What were the hedonistic '80s like?
Girls, girls, girls. Some drugs,
All right.
but we didn't really get into that. It was just again the the success became big within a year to 2 year period that it consumed us in a way that we did. I don't think that the group knew how to be uh
Well, that's
how to receive it in that way, you know.
I was
And
gonna ask you. So for you to come in at 79, and you're pretty much coming into a situation, one, that brings success, and you're kind of the reason for that success.
yeah,
But I always wanted to know for the band members that were there before 1969, before the label deals and all that stuff,
Mhm.
for Spike, for uh DT, for Kool, for Khalees, for George, like what is success for them like? I mean, you guys are the only Americans besides Jody Watley at Do They Know It's Christmas?
Right, right.
Like you guys are at a crazy level of notoriety.
Mhm.
So how are they how are they adjusting to this?
I've never asked
If you can speak for them.
if I could. I really can't. But all I know is that we all shared in everything equally. Um, it wasn't like, at a certain point, when we were at one time flying coach. You know what I mean? Then you're flying first class. You're fully first. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, when the tension started happening, I started having my own car. Stuff like that happened. But when we hit the stage, it was about let's go take this. Let's put the flag down. And all of this stuff really helped me, segue into my solo career.
Right.
It was a really proving ground, but I can't really speak to how they received it, whether they were overjoyed because they never said to me, um, don't forget this is the group, or don't think you're too big and stuff like that. That came from outside the circle, and but
Got
when
it.
it was time for me to make my exit, it had reached a height where that type of tension had gotten too much, and I didn't think that they were had my back anymore. And we did a show I'll never forget at New Year's down in Atlantic City, and I had the flu, and I was really
Mm-hmm.
really sick. And of course, back then I was about 150, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
soaking wet. And we had been touring, and it was the end of the year, and New Year's is always
Big money night.
big money night. And I was sick, but I refused not to perform. And I went out there, and sound voices half gone, and I doing cherish, and I closed my eyes, and when I tried to open them, all I saw was red. No, not an object, just a wall of red, like just red. And I froze, and I opened my eyes again, and it came open, but then it went red again, and I got scared to death, man. And I was able to walk backstage, and I pulled Kool off of somebody. I said, listen, play Jungle Boy, Hollywood Swing or something. Let me go back here and get myself together. And when I couldn't, I tried to come back out, and I left the stage. And that particular night, I'm back there, and all my family was at the audience. They ran backstage. People, even fans, were coming back saying, what's wrong? What happened? They knew something was wrong because I've never like been like this. And I'm sitting in my room, and none of the guys came over to see how I was doing except one guy, Curtis, and he told him, he said, God, can't you see this guy's sick? he can't do it. And that part hurt me more because I felt that their interest was more worrying about making the money
The
than
brand,
a
then
guy who been here since the label was gonna drop you guys in the 70s, and we got together, and it was never I never claimed it was just me, never had that attitude. But to get to this point and you don't even come back to check on the guy, and I said, that's it. And I left.
that's how you
And
left the group.
yeah, that night I called my family and I said, I got it, I can't do this anymore. So it was obvious, back to your question, that they must have felt something along the way, more than what I, you know, felt of them, because I never looked at them any other way except what we did. And but that was a rough time because I was really really sick, but I never let on. Um, and I've had that many times over the years. I was not well, and I still did shows, because I knew I had more responsibility than just myself. They had families, themselves. We had records to break, and sacrifice, man. You can do this. And many times I just go back to my room and taking myrrh and ginseng and all these different things. And I mean, Clifford Adams, he was into all of that, and he would bring me
Hmm.
Golden Seal, and I'm like, trying to get right. So, but I never let on. Hey man, I can't sing tonight. I sometimes, like, when I was trying to sing a stepping out was difficult because it was a
I would.
falsetto.
Right.
And sometimes that click wouldn't happen, and it would take like a few songs to get there. So we'd have to like take that out of the set. But most of the time, you can walk your way through it. But that was it, man. But again, when I got into my solo deal, and my first, I met with Gerald Busby,
Right.
and Gerald said, "Listen, man, I don't think you need to be at Motown. You need to go talk to Clive." And I remember sitting with Clive, and Clive played for me. You wouldn't believe this. Uh, that's what friends are for, in his
Mm.
office. With Luther and
Yeah.
Stevie and Whitney.
Hmm.
And at that time, I thought maybe he felt that maybe I should be one that was singing that could do that. And make a long story short, MCA offered me more money, and so I ended up signing with MCA over there.
Or the Master of the Game album, correct?
Master of the Game. I was the first, yeah, Master of the Game, and working with Lil Silas.
What was it like being on your own and only having yourself to answer to?
It was a little frightening. I must say, it was a little frightening because I was so used to, from being a young teenager, always with the band. Like I said, Electro Five, the street dance of these bands, Filet Soul, Kool and the
Hmm.
Gang. It was always like a group, a collection. And when I got out there, I realized that I didn't know as much as I needed to know about how to really uh, structure songs like complete. You know what I mean? I could do parts and things like that, and lyrics, but I didn't. I didn't claim to be a pianist, like a skilled musician and nothing like this. But I could, anything I hear, I can write. I've always had that, and
Hmm.
so when I got with MCA, I realized that they wanted me to do something like I had done before with Kool and them, and I was already beyond that. I wanted to be more of a eclectic artist, and bring in the styles that I loved, from rock and all these different things. And so I hooked up with this guy named Dennis Mikowski, and
Okay.
he introduced me to James Ingram, Tata Vega, Rose Stone, Phil Perry, James,
Hmm.
Jeff Porcaro, Paulinho da Costa, and I was like, okay, this is this. I love this collection right here, and that's when I started working on Master of the Game. And plus, publishers were sending me songs uh, to
Got it.
uh, to choose from, and that kind of helped me a lot. But Lul, he was there the whole time. trying to help me get a hit record. Because again, I got paid well, and the record company was just kind of letting me do what I wanted to do. And the first single, I still think they picked the wrong song. They picked the other song, Sister Rosa, and I did a video with Michael Peters, who did Thriller, with
Yeah.
Michael and all that
Mhm.
stuff. And we did the whole video and everything like this, but they didn't jump on the record because I still think they should have chosen Romancia or some other song.
Romancia. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that kind of little bit of taste there, and people was expecting JT the song, it ain't no ladies' night, when are you gonna do that? And
Right.
I was doing my interviews, I tell everybody, I said, well, I did that, and my mind isn't there now. And that's when I think Bobby Brown hit or New Edition,
Right.
and Bobby was
Really
blowing the
cool.
doors out, right
Hmm.
there. And they said, well, won't you give me something like that? And I said, didn't you talk to Bobby? And it's like, well, man, we tried to be like what you
Right.
did,
Right.
so
Exactly.
how you guys telling me to do something like that? So it started. That's when the mill started turning, and we knew we had to, kind of go back at it, and even with James Ingram and all these guys on, they still didn't, promote it the right way.